Hello, sweet friends. Welcome to the pea tunnel, and the pea tunnel is actually coming down today. I harvested everything I could from it except for maybe like itsy bitsy tiny peas, which the chicken will probably find if I give this to them to kind of forage on before I put it in the compost. But yeah, it's done. It started to fall. I don't know if you can see that from this angle. So it started to fall. They basically bend over when they run out of supports, and the peas didn't quite understand that we were trying to get them to grow over the tunnel. We tried weaving it, but at some point they just kind of start breaking. And also, we are like overwhelmed by sugar snap peas, overwhelmed by them. We have so many. And so I need to work on preserving those, cooking those. We're eating as many raw as we possibly can. But today the vines are coming down because we need the beans to go in. I'm probably about a week later than I maybe would have liked, just as far as like trying to be safe with timing. But you never know what the weather holds, and the beans are started. So what I'm gonna do is actually just cut. I'm gonna get my knife and I'm gonna cut the peas instead of pulling up the roots. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just take the pea and then just go to the bottom and just cut it off, and that's it. And then what I'll do is just try to pull these off as best as I can, make a big pile, first give them to the chicken and then compost them. I just realized I don't know if I ever got a picture of this when it was in all its glory, so I'm going to take a quick picture. These garden transitions can be a little hard for me. Like, I've had the cabbage sitting there waiting to harvest for like 4 days, and I haven't been able to cut it because I think it looks so beautiful. When I took all the garlic down, the whole fence, like you could see into the garden from the street view, and that was really weird for me because I don't have things growing up the fence yet to kind of distract from that. So that'll be something to think about next year, is like, how can I always have something on that fence so I don't have gaps. What else has changed? The fava beans came out. I'm trying to germinate carrots, but I don't think it's going to actually happen. The broccoli came out, or the spigariello came out. The broccoli's about to come out because it's doing absolutely nothing. And so there's going to be a lot of spaces in the garden, and like small plants will go in or seeds will go in, but it's going to be a while before those spaces fill up and are like really beautiful. So it is just like one of those weird things. Like, when this tunnel comes down, I don't have this tunnel anymore. It's a weird feeling. That is one tunnel done, so I have 2 more to do. But I want to show you what I have planted underneath the tunnels on the outside. Alright, trying to get this weeded before I show you. So I have some zinnias on the outside, and I have some hollyhocks. But do you remember I was doing a little potato experiment? This is my little potato experiment. This soil was so compacted, so I decided that wouldn't it be a great idea to plant potatoes down here. And the problem is that there are so many things planted in here that I wasn't able to come in and like give them some straw for support or anything like that. So right now they're in desperate need. They're like falling all over the ground like this. So this has been weeded, so it looks a lot better. Over here just desperately needs weeding, and I will put straw down. So peas come down, weeds come out, straw goes down, and then I will plant the beans. But I'm happy I planted the potatoes. I'm not saying I'm not happy. I love the decision to do that. I think it's going to help with the soil. Even if we don't get a lot of potatoes from it, you can see these are already flowering. So usually that means you're like halfway or 3/4 of a way there, depending on the potato. these cucumber, oh look, a cucumber. Well, that's a nice surprise. I think I'm gonna get 1 cucumber per plant before the cucumber beetles eat it. So you can see this plant has already gotten sick. It's such a bummer that the cucumber beetles are so destructive. I just keep succession planting cucumbers. If I can get 1 cucumber per plant, that means I have to plant a lot of cucumbers. This is either, I think this is salt and pepper. It might be silver slicer. They're similar in appearance. They're delicious. I'm really thrilled for this. This is exciting. It's funny when you don't get a lot of one crop, how much you appreciate it. Like how much I appreciate every bite of a fresh cucumber this season, because last year we pretty much got none. And this year it's just a race against the cucumber beetles as best as we can. Just keep planting them, planting them, planting them. Hope that we can confuse them enough. I'm like scattering them all around so that hopefully we can confuse the cucumber beetles. But the cucumber beetles are like, hey, I'll go on your potatoes. Where did we just find one? I found one on, what was it, on a tomato leaf? I'm like, dude, go. They're all over my winter squash. It's just like, it's so much. Those beetles are so much. So something I've been thinking about a lot lately is just how we use our time, how we decide what's important, how we decide what to do, how we motivate. Because I live in a family where most of us have neurodivergent brains, we are not a linear family. And you can walk into our house at any given moment and know we are not a linear family. I love beauty, but I am not organized. And so there will be like a million projects going on at one time. And I don't make lists. And I know a lot of people love lists and they, lists are really important to them. I don't really do that. And the reason I don't do that is because I won't use it. And so I end up with a lot in my head. And I go over it all the time. Now Dave, also neurodivergent brain, makes lists. And he swears by his lists. He uses them. Mostly uses them. Sometimes he uses them, sometimes he doesn't. But just the act of writing it down is really helpful for him. For me, once I get to a point where my head is full, where I'm running the things around, like looping them around in my brain every morning, every night, every afternoon, when I'm, doing this, doing that, then I know it's too much, it's too full, and I have to start somewhere. Now, if I was to write a traditional to-do list and order it by importance, I never start with the thing that seems like it should be the most important. The thing like, we had this paperwork to do for Luke for football, and I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, putting it off. And it was like one of the things that really needed to get done, and I couldn't do it. And so I had all these things in my head, and I had been also putting off vacuuming. It was just one of those things. I've been doing so much. I'm like, but vacuuming? When I vacuum my house, when my rugs are clear, when my kitchen floor is clear, because I just vacuum everything. When that happens, it's like I can begin. And so where I begin is not necessarily that most important thing. It's the thing that gets me started. It's the thing that releases all the other things. Like, I can do these things now. I can get to it now. And so, doing the peas, I've been putting off the peas and putting off the peas and putting off the peas. And I realized that I'm putting off doing the peas because I don't want that beauty to be gone. I don't want that tunnel to be gone. I don't want to be exposed like I am once the tunnel is gone. I love having these pockets where I can hide in my garden. And I know it'll be a while before the beans grow up, but I really want that bean crop. I really want it. So I had to come in the garden and just start weeding. I actually love weeding. Weeding is, to me, one of the best ways you can communicate with your plants, with the soil, with, your growing. You learn so much. You find pests, you find problems, you find successes, you find it all when you're weeding. And it is such a sense of accomplishment. And I just love it. It's like meditation for me. Kind of like sweeping the floor might be. And so I did that. And then I just slowly was able to work my way over and then get started on the peas. And so, I was talking with Dave about it, and it was interesting. He said, sometimes I just have to do something to get myself started. And I said, that's it. That's absolutely it. And I feel like I do this every day. Every day, the first thing that I do is not technically or typically the most important. It's not the thing that's on the deadline. It's not the thing that needs to be done, the thing that I can't go to bed unless that thing is done. It's usually something completely separate, because once I do that other thing that I'm more motivated to do, that just comes easier, that I'm not procrastinating. It's like really productive procrastination, right? You're getting all these things done so that you can get to those other things. And like this garden, there was never a plan for this garden. I just visualized it in my head. That's how I do things. If I tried to put it on paper, it never works. It doesn't translate. I just see it, and then it just happens. And I just change my mind all the time, and I'm constantly tweaking it and going, oh, here's a blank space. What am I gonna put in it? Or, oh, I have beans on the stairs. Where are they gonna go? Or, when I learn more and more, chicken remind me, they follow me everywhere. Even if they can't come in the garden, they come right behind the fence. And so anyway, I just don't want you to not do something. One, because you don't have a plan, you don't have a list, you think you don't have time, because you just start somewhere, and where you start is the perfect place, because it feeds into the next, into the next, into the next. I feel like I'm a highly productive person, but at the end of the day, if I'm not careful, I can lie there and just chastise myself that I haven't done enough, that I didn't do this, that I didn't do this. And that is like, I'm not allowing that anymore, because I want to think about all the wonderful things that I did do. What did I do? What happened today that was wonderful? It could just be like I had a really good cup of tea from the garden, or we had a delicious dinner. And some days are just like, I did get a lot done. I'm like one of those people that values what I do as identity. And so I have to be really careful about that. And I'm trying to separate myself from that and just say this experience. So like the peas, taking down the peas, the experience of taking down the peas, and like the emotions in that and the feelings inside that. And people that don't grow their food would probably be like, you have emotions about taking down your peas? Why, yes, I do have emotions about taking down my peas. I've got a lot of them, and it's probably gonna be a week before I'm over it. And we process and we move through it. And so whatever it is for you, whatever gets you started, whatever lights you up, whatever turns you on, start there. You don't have to have a brain that operates linearly, or operates like your typical, someone who's super organized and plans and whatever, because I am proof. This garden is proof. My home is proof. My business is proof that you don't have to think that way. You don't have to function that way. You can just be you. You can do things the way you do things, and they can turn out really beautifully and filled with magic. And that's what I'm going for. I am going for a life where my sacred roots are deep and the magic just flows all around me, and connections are constantly being made. And I am connected to soil, to earth, to sacred mother, to source, to spirit. I am connected to me, to my love, to my kids. I am connected to you. Like through this, we can be connected together. That is like simply amazing to me. So, all right. Peace, peace, peace. Well, the peas are gone. Bye-bye peas. The tunnel, I mean, you can see all the sun in here right now. That has not been in here before. Hopefully it won't shock the plants that are in here too much. The empty tunnel, starting over from scratch. So we've got potatoes and hollyhocks and zinnias growing on this side. And then inside we've got some bush beans, some lettuce for seed, some new lettuce starting, some slow boat lettuce, some parsnips, a zucchini plant, some tatsoi, which I don't know if it's gonna make it or not because the bugs are eating it, the gorgeous perpetual spinach, which I think everyone should grow, and then a little ground cherry. And then on the outside of this one, it's all clear, ready to be planted with the beans. This one's going to be a little trickier to plant because there are so many things there, but I think it'll work out fine. And then I've got a bunch of cucumbers already growing up along the tunnel in here, so I'll just put the beans to the side. The cucumbers, like I said, won't be here for long. Here's the little baby parsnips, and then this is the tatsoi, and it's being devoured. I don't know that it'll get anywhere. I'll try again with something else to see if it's a little bit more pest resistant. And this is the dancing tongue lettuce. This is the deer tongue lettuce. I don't know why I call it dancing tongue, like a tongue dances. I don't know. It's the deer tongue lettuce. And I'm letting that go to seed, and then I let one of the red leaf go to seed because these flowers are so pretty. So pretty. And then the new batch of lettuce down there. So that is no longer the pea tunnel. It will now be the bean tunnel. Yeah, that was a task. It always takes longer than you think. And it is very shocking to lose this beautiful tunnel. However, what we know is that it will be filled up in no time, and we will have long beans dripping from it, and cowpeas, and hopefully cucumbers, depending, and it'll be gorgeous once again. So the next step today is just cutting that cabbage if I can get myself to do it, and if not, there is absolutely no problem in waiting for tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you.